Now, from the fifth floor Cumulus Studios in downtown Dallas, it's time for Inside Real Estate. Here's your host, Michael Kruizinga.
Good morning, Dallas. How we doing out there? Welcome to Inside Real Estate Sunday mornings live. You know, we're one of the very few live shows out there, and we're here every Sunday morning, 8 to 9 a.m. to bring you a little bit of real estate and business talk. And, we'll talk a little sports, entertainment, politics as well. The website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. InsideRealEstateRadio.com. Of course, there's a lot of social media and whatnot. And, of course, there's a lot of great stories on the website.
Mostly the whatnot.
Yes, mostly the whatnot. What's up, Richard?
How are you doing today?
I'm excellent.
I did like that dramatic pause that you had in between the music intro and before you. Good morning, Dallas.
Yes, it's just natural sometimes. As always, our special expert in insurance and business, Richard Tonihka, is here. That's his voice. His website, richardtagency.com, over at Goosehead Insurance. What'd you do for the Cinco de Mayo weekend?
I told my daughter how exactly it got the name Cinco de Mayo. She kept telling me the history of it, and I was like, no, it was a boat of mayonnaise that sunk off the coast, and it was it got to riding, and it was Stinko in Mayo.
Very good.
No, we had our normal fajita dinner and all that good stuff, but since we don't drink a whole lot around the house.
No margaritas?
No margaritas, no cervezas. Just
unacceptable.
Just tacos and fajitas.
Unacceptable.
I know.
Well, we went out Friday night. We went to Carmen, the opera.
Really?
Over there, yeah, at the Bass Hall there.
Yes.
And it was last night, I guess, of that run, and we had a good time. We had, it was a blast. It was actually a really good show. It was in French.
Yes.
I think the way the story, it almost was, I think the story is like a Spanish love story, but it's in French, so I don't know. It was good, though. I enjoyed it. We both enjoyed it. She really liked it, too.
I love live theater. I don't like seeing movies about live theater, but I love live theater, and it's one of the things that I've gotten my wife into, and now my daughter. But, yes. And I my daughter wanted to go see it, but I just couldn't find the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was a good show. I'd recommend it. So whenever it's back. So it was pretty good. Well, what's going on out there, folks? Let's talk a little bit about real estate, I guess. First of all, it's a crazy market out there. We all know that. You need to understand the market. Get with us, whether you're buying or selling. We'll definitely help you, educate you on that. Buyers, you need to understand that all the stories you've heard from your friends that are in houses, they bought last year, the year before, especially years gone by, especially stories from your parents or your uncles or your aunts or your grandparents. Those were all markets where the seller paid all the closing costs and they pretty much begged you to buy the house. Please,
we just want to get rid of it.
Please buy my house. And they begged you and they gave you a new car and they just gave you whatever you wanted. The lawnmower. Those days are long gone, and they aren't to return here in DFW likely anytime soon.
No.
New builds aren't going to catch up for 5 to 7 years, if that. And even at that point, we're still going to be missing new builds under 300,000, homes under 300. So it is what it is. So, when we're going out and looking at houses, you need to understand you're going to have to give them what they want, and you're probably going to have to go over. And so, this day of, okay, well, the carpet's kind of shot, let's see if they'll, give us some new carpet. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. What about, getting the paint or cosmetics, et cetera, et cetera. In so many of these cases, it's just not going to happen. Now, there are, of course, exceptions to that. There are places where we can find some of those things, but it depends on your situation. If you're an FHA buyer and you don't have a lot of cash, or no cash, you need to understand your place in the marketplace. And if you can't understand that, then it's very difficult to help you. Help us help you is what I always say. And we want to get you a deal. Trust me, I'd love to get everybody a deal, but the deals aren't really there right now, depending on your situation. I mean, yes, if you want to live outside of the Metroplex, you want to commute, or you're willing to do some work yourself, that's if you can go conventional, if you can do a rehab loan. But here's the deal. We have competition. You're not the only offer on the house. So, although things can be done, are you going to win the bid? And right now it's unlikely for you to win the bid if you're in those situations.
So when you're looking at a house, how do you know when you have to go FHA or when you can go convention? What's the percentage, or is it a percentage down that you can go from one to the other?
Yeah, well, I mean, so here's the deal. I mean, there are conventionals that are 3% down. There's 3%, 5%. Okay. You can do a 10% conventional. Obviously, the 20%. But it depends on the lender, and it depends on your credit score, and what kind of cash you have in the bank. So if you can go conventional, the more money down you can put, the better.
And this is my ignorance on the subject, because I mean, what I deal with is insurance, and I get a lot of times that people are asking me, how can I separate my insurance from my mortgage? Because personally, I pay my taxes and my insurance separate from my mortgage, because I always want my mortgage to be the exact same price every month, month in, month out. Yeah. That way they have no control, or there is no reason why they would ever increase my payment.
Right.
Because they're not having to take out or guess what I'm going to be paying in insurance or in my taxes.
Yeah. Well, it's really just depends on, what their financial situation is, and the more money you have to put down, the better position you're going to be in. Plus, here's the thing. I mean, maybe your credit score isn't at the conventional level. Maybe you are FHA. Maybe the best interest rate for you is FHA based on your situation, based on your debt load, your debt to income ratio. Maybe you're best at FHA. But if you got some cash in the bank, you can still be an FHA buyer and put the minimum 3.5% down and still have extra cash in the bank. And that extra cash we can use to overbid to win on a property. Because if the property is not going to appraise, you're going to need that cash to cover the spread between the sales price and the appraisal. Sales price is, $250, appraisal $240. That's the spread you have to cover. So there's an extra $10,000 for you to bring to the table. Plus you're going to bring down, your 3.5% based on $240,000. So if you have that cash, hey, you're in a good position. So save more money. Basically, buyers, you just need to understand that unless you're willing to work with us and let you help us help you find something that you're going to work with, and it's not going to be the move-in ready thing, and you need to lower your expectations a little bit if you want to win something. Otherwise, just stay renting.
That's like telling someone to be patient. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's tough. So it's an educational process. You need to understand what the market's doing. Otherwise, you're just going to sit there, bid. You're going to spin your wheels, not win a house, and you're going, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Well, you're not listening to us. That's what you're doing wrong. Sellers, hey, you guys are doing great out there. Just you're profiting off of simple supply and demand. It's simple supply and demand, over 7 million people moving in nonstop, not enough houses. You do the math. So you're doing well out there. And by the way, I mean, I'm starting to, tell people, hey, I mean, because you get questions, when people are, wanting to list their house. Well, how long do we have to list? That's always one of the questions. Shoot, we'll do 2 weeks, do a 2 week. We'll do a 10-day. I mean, we'll do a 10-day listing. I don't care. It's 10 days, 2 weeks. The market's moving that fast, and if you market the property very well with, high quality property pictures, you should be just fine.
I know when we put our house on the market, and this is more than a few years ago, it was gone within 10 days.
Yeah.
And that was before this boom. And you're seeing it nowadays where if it's on the market for a month in certain areas, there's something wrong. Yeah,
exactly. And that's what everybody's wondering. Not only are the agents, wondering what's wrong with the property, but so are the consumers that are seeing it. However, for those of you buyers that are in a unique situation where maybe you need some help to buy a house, those are the houses that we need to look at because they've been ignored. And sometimes they're ignored just because they have horrible photos. You know,
absolutely.
I'm the biggest fan of listings with horrible photos, for my buyer clients, because it gives us an opportunity to go in there and not be one of 25 bids, but maybe the only bid or maybe one of 3 bids. So I love agents that do a horrible job and put pathetic looking pictures on their listings. I love it. Absolutely love it, because it gives my buyers a chance to get it, and maybe
at a
even
reduced price,
and maybe even negotiate. Maybe actually get something paid for. Maybe get the survey or the title policy, or maybe a little closing costs or something. But so that's what's going on. Hey, folks, you know what? We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back and talk about mortgage, because there's some things going on out there in the mortgage industry, that are shady. And so we're going to talk about those things and what to look out for, what to be careful for. We're going to talk about that on the other side of the break. So hang tight with us. See you in a few.
The Savage Nation.
It's a con. The whole thing's a con. What'd they do here? They eliminated taxes. They took off this. They took off that. Now it goes to the gangsters in the Senate. It'll all be put back and then some.
2 till 5 every afternoon on News and Information 570 KLIF.
Hey folks, it's Mike Kruizinga here, and did you know that the self-employed loan is back? That's right. Since the 2008 crash, the self-employed have been down and out and unable to buy homes due to restrictions with loan mortgages. But now the self-employed loan is back with TurboMortgages.com. Our good friends at TurboMortgages.com are taking care of all of you self-employed truckers, plumbers, electricians, all of you guys out there. We've got you covered. Go to TurboMortgages.com.
Turbo Mortgage is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 208677, principal address 5330 Mercedes Avenue, Dallas, Texas 75206.
Folks, it's Mike Kruizinga here with Inside Real Estate Sports Entertainment on 570 AM KLIF. Did you know that virtually all of us will experience a fall in the bathtub at some point in our life? Well, statistically, it's true, and as we get older, a fall in the bathtub can spell disaster, as we just can't recover the same as we did in our younger years. Don't let something as silly and preventable as a bathtub fall put an end to all your special plans you have lined up for your golden years. Invest in a Hydrojet walk-in bathtub. Made in the USA and with the lowest step in the industry, Hydrojet walk-in tubs has your best interest at heart. With no commission sales staff or huge warehouse overhead, they build and sell direct to you, saving you thousands of dollars over their competitors. Call Randy, my friend and owner of Hydrojet Walk-in Tubs at 855-980-8827 or go to hydrojetwalkintubs.com. You'll be able to speak with Randy directly, and make sure to mention you heard about it on the radio. And for you veterans out there, there's a grant available for you to cover the majority of the cost of a walk-in tub, making it darn near free. Call Randy at 855-980-8827 or go to hydrojetwalkintubs.com today.
570 AM. 96.3 HD2. That's where you'll find us. News and Information KLIF.
Glenn Beck.
Everything Kim Jong-un has been doing lately is all for a specific purpose. Everything is calculated. Everything from his physical appearance to the escalation of his nuclear program. We can look at him as a giant punchline, but we should not.
Glenn Beck, 8 till 11 on News and Information 570 AM KLIF.
Far from the shores of home, 2 African-American U.S. Army privates fight for their lives on the battlefronts of World War II. The first Black war correspondents fight to cover the perspective of the Black soldier. The novel A Private War weaves all this and more into an epic World War II era story of friendship, conflict, religion, and redemption. Get a copy of Private War, a novel by Perry Cockrell today, now available on Amazon.com. And tune in regularly to Inside Real Estate Sundays 8 to 9 a.m. to hear Perry Cockrell, attorney at law, as he provides expert analysis of the latest and greatest in legal news. Folks, it's Mike Kruizinga here from Inside Real Estate Radio Show. How would you like to get into a home for only 1% down? Well, it's true. You can get into a home for only 1% down with our partner of the radio show over at TurboMortgages.com. Folks, go to TurboMortgages.com for all of your mortgage financing needs, including the 1% down program. Trust me, they've got all the financing options you need at TurboMortgages.com. Go to their website today, TurboMortgages.com.
Turbo Mortgage is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 208677, principal address 5330 Mercedes Avenue, Dallas, Texas 75206.
If you have a timeshare, this time of year you're probably thinking about those maintenance fees coming due. Hi, I'm Karen Holloway, owner of Lone Star Transfer, located right here in the DFW area. Before you pay your maintenance fees, call us for a free consultation, 972-722-3166. We'll get you out of your timeshare and put a stop to those maintenance fees, guaranteed. 972-722-3166 or LoneStarTransfer.com.
2 great signals, 1 great way to keep up with what's happening in your world. KLIF News and Information, 570 AM and 96.3 HD2.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Howdy ho, friends and neighbors. We are back inside realestateRadio.com. InsideRealestateRadio.com. Time to get into a little bit of insurance talk. We're going to talk with our good friend Richard over at Goosehead Insurance. His website, richardtagency.com. richardtagency.com. Don't forget, folks, Richard can shop over 20 to 25 companies behind the scenes to get the best policies, the best rates for you. Who else can bundle your auto with one company, your homeowners with another company, and still give you bundled discounts? No other company can do that out there. Richard can do that for you. His website, richardtagency.com. What's up, Richard?
How are you doing today? I guess it helps if my microphone's on. So.
It helps a little bit. A little bit, yes.
We're going to talk about deductibles today. One of the biggest questions that I get for homeowners is, actually just homeowners and drivers, customers in general, is why is it important to have a low deductible, and or what is the advantage of increasing my home deductible in their auto deductibles? Yeah. So first we're going to look at home because we're inside Real Estate Radio, so we're going to look at the real estate first. When you're looking at your deductibles, you've got, with some companies, you have two deductibles and or three deductibles. Normally, you're going to have wind and hail. So hail, lightning, tornado. High winds, tornadoes, hail, wind and hail. You're going to have all other perils. And sometimes you're going to have tropical storms or cyclones or a named storm peril, which is the same thing. So if you had a tropical storm that came up through the Gulf, made and caused damage. Normally, this is the reason that you need three in the state of Texas is everyone along the coast is going to have three different kinds of damage, right? They're going to have tropical wind, cyclone, or named storm, all other perils, and wind and hail. Right. And on a lot of home policies down on the coast, your wind and hail is excluded from your normal homeowner's policy. So not only do you have to get a homeowner's policy, then you have to get a separate wind and hail policy. And then if you're looking at something at a flood policy, then you're going to have to go that route. So you could have up to 3 policies on your home just to get the same kind of coverage that we can get for 2 policies. Or at the very minimum, you're going to have 2 just to get the coverage that you have up here. So if you're looking at investment properties down along the coast, just be aware of that.
Right.
But anyway, so you've got those 3 kinds of coverages. When you're looking at a wind and hail deductible, more than likely, and one of the things that I tell all customers is, if you're going to have a claim, normally it's either going to come from the sky or it's going to come from the ground. So it's vitally important that you have wind and hail at 1% and or you have foundation coverage on your house. That is almost always an endorsement that you're going to add to your house, but we'll get into that in a different show since we're talking about deductibles right now. So
those endorsements and riders are extremely important.
Absolutely.
If people don't know about those, they think they're protected, for certain things. Trust me, you're not. You need to talk to Richard about that, and we'll definitely get into those in another show, but just talk to Richard about it. Trust me, because you want to be protected.
Yes, and your insurance carrier is always going to come, oh, you've got coverage. Well, you've got coverage. You just may not have the coverage you need for this particular claim. And that's where our conversations come in. Yep. But getting back to the deductibles. So we're all just looking at wind and hail right now. So you have a $100,000 house for your replacement cost. If you have a 1% deductible, what's your deductible going? If you got a 1% deductible on a $100,000 house, you're going to have a $1,000 deductible. So your roofer comes out, says to replace your roof, you've got a smaller house, and that's the reason that your dwelling is at $100,000. You're going to look at maybe $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 to replace your roof. That's okay. I'm going to have to pay $1,000, so I'm going to pay $1,000 out of that $4,000, $5,000, or $6,000. If you increase that deductible up to 2%, it's still doable, because you're looking at getting $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 or $2,000, $3,000 or $4,000, and coming out of pocket for that, not that bad.
Right.
It's when you start going up in value on your home. So, because if you've got a $100,000 house, 1% and 2%, it's not that big of a deal. If you're looking at a $250,000 house, you're going from $2,500. So you're looking at more along the lines of $7,000 or $8,000, $9,000 or $10,000 for a new roof, usually.
Right.
Now, let's say you out of that 8, 9, or 10, you're going to have $2,500 that's going to be taken out of that. So $5,500, $6,500, $7,500 is what the insurance is going to pay. You're going to pay $2,500. Now let's say that you've got a 2% on a $250,000 house, which I'm not saying all carriers will make you do, but some carriers will. And I'm not going to say it's U.S. Something.
Right.
But you're looking at $5,000. So half of that deductible, half of the amount that it's going to take to replace your your roof on a $250,000 house is coming out of your pocket. And that kind of negates the value of your insurance.
Absolutely.
Because this is one of the things that I always look at is how long is it going to take? If I'm going to go with a higher deductible, there's got to be something in it for me. And there is no way on your home to really say, okay, I'm going to go 5 years without a claim. I know this because, well, no, you don't. You never know. Ask the people in Wiley and Saxey and those areas last year that had 2 claims within a month.
Right.
There's no way of predicting what kind of weather that we're going to have here locally and saying that, oh yeah, your house is going to be safe from hail and all these different things. And that's not even counting the other stuff where you have a pipe burst, you have something going on in your house.
Right.
This is just external, the weather. And then when you're looking at, we kind of looked at the $250,000 home. When you're looking at a $500,000 home, and you're saying that you're going to make me get a 2% deductible, you're looking at $10,000 out of pocket before insurance ever spends a dime. And when I'm looking at making a claim, my claim is one of my steadfast rules personally is my claim has to be double what my deductible is, or else it makes no sense for me to put in a claim.
Right. I'm
going to end up paying more, and over the long haul for having that claim on there, where I may only get $400 or $500, $600 of help. Why?
Right.
Like I was saying earlier, there has to be something in it for me. And on your home, especially for your wind and hail, there is absolutely no reason to go anything above 1.5%. There's absolutely no reason to go up to 2%. In fact, when the carriers tell me that, okay, we're only offering 2% deductibles on wind and hail, you're not a viable option for my customers, because if I'm doing what's best for you, it means a 1% deductible
1%.
For wind and hail.
Yep.
It's just that simple. And so,
if you're spending, if you spend $5,000 on your 2%, deductible, and let's say it's, maybe you're getting a good deal on your roof, $8,000 or $9,000, now you're at that point. Okay, do I even file the claim? Because I've got to chip in that already. Maybe I'll just go ahead and take care of the rest. Because you're right. How much more are you going to pay every month now because you have the claim?
Absolutely.
So in the future.
And so, and then that's the wind and hail. When you're looking at the inside, the all other perils, you're looking at your pipes, your appliances, something going on, a fire, a lightning. You can get a set deductible. Does it cost more? Absolutely. But your roofer or whoever may be able to play with their numbers. If you're replacing a water heater or something like that, or doing something inside the house, Home Depot isn't going to change their price. They don't care that you need a new water heater because yours just blew up. Their price is going to be what their price is going to be. And so going in and having that set deductible of $1,000 or something like that is an added benefit that most, if not all, of our carriers do. And so it's something that we definitely look at, and it's something that we play around with to find out what's right for you. Because one of the things that we want to make sure that is you get the price and the policy that you want, because it's not really just all about the price or the price of the premium. It's the price of when something happens that you also need to consider.
Right.
And that's one of the things. And I was telling Mike earlier that on the house, I never play with the deductible on the roof, just because of that the very simple statement that we cannot predict our weather. There's no way we can say definitively, I am not going to have a claim for this amount of time, so that the savings for increasing that risk of going from 1% to 2% is worth it, because I'm going to make this amount of savings over the next 5 years to negate the additional payments that I'm going to make going forward. On your autos, you can kind of do that. So, and when you're looking at your auto insurance, you can set an auto policy up exactly apples to apples compared to what you have and what I have. And so when you're looking at that, going from a $250 deductible to a $500 deductible to a $1,000 deductible, and looking at what those savings are, you can look at your driving history. You can look at how many accidents that you've had over the lifetime, or however long you've been driving. And you can kind of go by that and say, hey, you know what? I can't afford the risk of going from a $250 deductible to a $1,000 deductible because of this very reason. When I'm looking at that, let's say you're going from a $500 deductible to a $1,000 deductible, and it's going to save you $200 a year. Fantastic. How long do you have to go before in between having no claims to where you start making your money back? Right. So if you go 3 years, you saved $600, although you'll end up paying $500 more on a claim. So if your history is that you're going 4, 5, 6 years, absolutely look at increasing your deductible, because at that time you're looking at, I've already made $100 more on increasing my deductible,
right,
paying more at the time of a claim. And when I'm talking about saving, I'm not saying go out and spend. If you're saving money, you are putting it aside. You should, because the whole point of this is to make sure that you have that money there when you have that claim, because you are going to pay more if you have a claim that is your fault, even if you're increasing your comprehensive. So a collision claim is anytime that you're in control of your car. Comprehensive is you're not in control of your car. It's parked. It's something else. But when you have these claims, you have to have that money.
Yeah.
Don't spend everything you have. Keep it put it in your savings account. Do something with it. Get it out of mind to where it's gaining interest for you, so that when and if you do have your claim, you're able to pay it. You're able to move forward, and you realize those savings.
Yeah. Well, and there's great wisdom in the 1% with the homeowners, because, we really are a cash poor society. We somehow make our monthly bills with our debts that we have, but especially as your home value goes up, I find that, you would think, when you're, I work with these clients, they're buying $400,000, $500,000 houses, or better. You would think that, they should have the cash flow to go with that, but not always.
No.
Not always. I mean, more and more now, that price range is almost more debt saddled, than those that make less money than they do. And so it's a very weird, sort of market that we have, as far as, the buyers and the sellers that we have, and where they're qualifying and where their income levels are, but where their debt is as well. And so there's great wisdom in the 1%, for the your deductible, because, that 2% is a total game changer, when it comes to these roofing jobs.
Absolutely. And for most of us, that's going to be the one claim that we have.
Right.
Me and my wife were calculating everything up. We've gone 17, 18 years. We've had one claim in our life, and it's been a hell claim. And that's it. And that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And they may have a lot of health claims, but that's part of living here in this particular part of the United States. It's just something that happens between hail and tornadoes. It's where we are, but
yeah, it's where it's geographical. We don't get the earthquakes. Well, if you're in Irving, you do, but it is what it is. This is what we've got, which is not a bad option. If we'd rather not have hurricanes, we'd rather not have earthquakes. So we're kind of in the middle. And we have, some tornadoes and hail.
I'd rather not have the rock slides, the wildfires, and the earthquakes. Absolutely. I'll take a hailstorm over all that stuff any day.
No doubt. Well, folks, for all of your insurance needs, home, auto, and otherwise, make sure you go to richardtagency.com, richardtagency.com. Get Richard's info. Give him a call. Hey, he's going to take all the time in the world to chat with you about your situation and talk about all the details that there are with home ownership and the fact that, with your other policies, you thought you were covered, but you're really not. There's so many details you people ignore out there, and we want you to be covered. We want you to be taken care of. And not always is that an increase in price. It might be a lot less than you're paying now, and you're better covered. I mean, what a good deal. Go to richardtagency.com. Talk to Richard. Folks, we're going to take a short break. We'll see you on the other side.
The news never stops, and neither do we.
Thanks to the leadership of President Donald Trump, welcome to the beginning of the end of Obamacare.
As far as I'm concerned, your premiums, they're going to start to come down. We're going to get this passed through the Senate. I feel so confident.
Non-stop coverage here. News and information, 570 AM, KLIF.
Take a step in the right direction. Sign up for the 12th annual NAMI Walks Dallas, a short walk that goes a long way to help the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Saturday, May 13th, beginning at 10 a.m. in Dr. Pepper Ballpark in Frisco. Visit NAMIDallas.org.
Folks, it's Mike the Realtor here from Inside Real Estate, and if you're not listing your property with me, bottom line is you're leaving money on the table. There are over 15,000 agents here in the DFW area, most of whom are part-time and do a few deals a year. Do you want to trust them to sell your home? I think not. Call Mike the Realtor, the radio realty expert from Inside Real Estate on 570 AM KLIF. Promise you will get to me direct. Go to InsideRealEstateRadio.com. Don't sell your home with just anyone. Go to InsideRealEstateRadio.com and connect with Mike the Realtor.
Living in the DFW area, expansive clay soil and extreme weather conditions play havoc on homes' foundation. But thankfully, you can turn to PermaPure Foundation Repair of Texas, who has successfully repaired over 20,000 properties and counting in the DFW area. With the most trusted, tried and true foundation repair methods, trust the professional staff of PermaPure Foundation Repair to take care of your property, and most repairs are backed by a lifetime transferable warranty. Mention Inside Real Estate Radio when calling PermaPure at 214-637-1444 or when booking online at permapure.com for your Inside Real Estate Radio discount.
KLIF News and Information. Still at 570 AM. And also at 96.3 HD2.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey, folks, we are back. InsideRealEstateRadio.com. InsideRealEstateRadio.com. Hey, wanted to mention a couple of our partners of the show that are 100% financially stable, and their offices do exist, brick and mortar, where where they're supposed to be, not just in some bizarro world. But our good friends over at Lone Star Transfer and our good friends over at Hydrojet Walk-In Tub, they haven't been able to be in the studio for a while. Brian had broke his leg, over at Lone Star Transfer. And plus, they have an office in California as well. But Brian and Karen Holloway, the owners over at Lone Star Transfer over in Rockwall, but they have an office in California, so they've been over in that office for quite a bit lately. Working on that as well. But, if you've got a timeshare that you're trying to get out of, you accidentally got into a timeshare, or maybe you've been in a timeshare for, 15, 20, 30 years. It's been great, but now you've figured out you can't get out of it. You're tired of using it. You can't use it anymore. Maybe your health has declined. Maybe the kids don't want it. Look, the travel industry has changed. It's so easy to travel anywhere, everywhere on a dime. and a very small dime these days. It's so competitive with travel now. So, the timeshare world is it's not what it used to be, and the benefits aren't necessarily what they used to be. And so, if you found out that you can't get out of your timeshare, and if you're thinking about getting out, you will find out shortly that you can't you can't get out of it without help. This is where our good friends over at Lone Star Transfer come in, and so go to LoneStarTransfer.com. Brian, Karen Holloway, the owners, will get you with one of their staff and make sure they take care of you. And our good friends over at Hydrojet Walk and Tub, their website, hydrojetwalkandtub.com. Been very busy. They haven't been able to come into the studio lately either, but if you have experienced a fall, you have mobility issues, if you're a veteran, and you've just got a lot of different issues from combat, hydrotherapy is a great way to take care of that. And by the way, for the veterans out there, there's a grant that literally pays for your entire purchase of a Hydrojet walk-in tub. So if you're a veteran out there, and it doesn't matter what age that you are, if you're a veteran at all, you could actually have a great Hydrojet walk-in tub, the benefits of hydrotherapy, right there in your home, and at no cost to you, and our good friends over there at Hydrojet, they walk through the clients through that process. It does take a little while to get that VA grant, but they do it, and they're really the only walk-in tub company that will deal with helping the veterans, get this grant, because the grant does take a while to get done, as anything with the VA does.
No, dealing with the government takes a long time.
Exactly. But they do such a great job over there, and they care about the veterans, so I highly recommend getting over there with our good folks over there. And, but plus the other thing is, once we advance in age, the statistics are we're going to fall. We are just going to fall, in the bathroom. And but especially for those folks who have some mobility issues, these are just amazing. And by the way, the competitors are at $30,000, $25,000 for this type of product, and our good friends, we believe in taking care of you and working with companies that take care of you, the client out there. You're looking at it all inclusive, plus, with the install at $10,000 or less.
Really?
Absolutely. $10,000 or less with hydrojetwalkintubs.com, and that's with the install. And they're going to make sure that everything works. There's so many horror stories with these other companies that will come out and sell you a tub, but then they didn't check your wiring or your plumbing to ensure that you could even take it.
Oh, we'll deliver it though.
Yeah, but you bought it, so hire a contractor to figure it out. And unfortunately, so many of these clients, these homeowners are elderly, and they've bought this walk-in tub from competitors out there, and then they found out, well, they have incompatible wiring, incompatible plumbing, and then they have to go find their own contractors to deal with it. And they say, because that tub company won't let them out of the contract. Those aren't the type of companies we like to work with.
Absolutely
We
not.
like to work with companies that stand behind their product and are the salt of the earth. And, our good friends over there at Hydrojet Walk-in Tub certainly do that. Let's hit a little bit of headlines real quick before we wrap up the show. What's going on out there? Hey, American Airlines is working on their 1.8 million square foot campus, which is going to be on the other side of 360 from where they are currently. Going to house about 11,000 employees. Crescent Real Estate's working on it along with Pelly Clark Architects. And then a Houston-based firm is the architect for the landscaping, which is James Burnett. And then, of course, Gensler is doing the interior design. So they're starting to really get some things going on that. So that's going to be a great new project coming. JCPenney, hey, they just settled on a lawsuit. There were claims that the former CEO, Mike Ullman, and the CFO, Ken Hanna, had misled investors about the company's liquidity in August and September of 2013 prior to a public stock offering, of course.
No,
and so
they wouldn't do that.
They, of course, would not mislead investors. But to settle this lawsuit, and by the way, JCPenney, of course, denies all allegations, but they're settling the lawsuit for guess how much? $97.5 million.
What?
Yeah, they're settling that for $97.5 million. However, denying all allegations, of course. So, doesn't that Isn't that interesting? Hey, Supreme Lending is the new title sponsor of the Byron Nelson 3-year deal. Supreme Lending signed with the Byron Nelson, so that's pretty cool. They're also doing a deal with Pudge Rodriguez and the Texas Rangers to kind of work around the Byron Nelson as well. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool deal there. Of course, Supreme Lending is what is behind it is Everett Financial, and of course Scott Everett, the founder. What else is going on? Hey, Devon Energy is going to sell off about $1 billion in assets because they want to focus on other drilling areas. They're one of the largest position holders in the Barnett Shale. Since 2002, drilled more than 5,000 wells, about 28% of their total production here in the Barnett. But they're going to be raising some capital to work on some, other projects, some other drilling. So they're going to sell $1 billion off of the Barnett Shale. So that's pretty interesting.
I was going to say, you're not too far from where we live. Did you get the letter saying that I can't remember what company used to have the rights, but they sold it off, and now it's a new company? I was just like, okay, now I know who to call, and where's my mailbox money?
That's right. Give me my royalties. I got black gold in the ground here. You better give me my money. Hey, this was an interesting story. There was Jody Genesee, and Jody's a guy, by the way, a basketball reporter for Utah Desert News. He was on a flight coming back from Costa Rica, and the 737, this was a United flight, went up and lost an engine, and they had to return to the airport, and they had to burn fuel. And he said, holy cow, it was on the return with one engine that they got wind, came at him right on landing, and said the one wingtip almost hit the ground. Said it was inches from hitting the ground, but the pilot pulled off the landing and got him down safely. So great story for these pilots. And they said that the flight they took the next day was with the same pilots. So they used the same crew the next day, and they said the pilots got a standing ovation from everybody because everybody was laid over to the next day, and gave a standing ovation to the pilots, for pulling off the one wheel landing, the one engine landing there. So that was a good story. So positive story, for United, although they've had some negative ones, but hey.
How quickly would that make you become a person that drove everywhere?
Yeah,
you've taken a lot of flights in your life.
I flew a lot, especially early on when Southwest was a partner, and being right amendment, it was up and down to get anywhere, and but I loved flying, loved it. Safest thing you could think about. But there was, I would say maybe in 2009, something like that. I took a flight out of Denver. And that year I had a few windy flights. I took a flight out of Denver where I thought we were literally going to be thudded out of the air. And it was a 757. And it was just those winds coming over the Rockies, as you're coming up, you're taking off towards the west, and then you're banking around, to the north and looping around south. And that one really scared me. I had one where we got detoured from a sandstorm, detoured down to Austin, and I actually got off the plane in Austin and drove home. It was all in one year. I had 3 bad flights, and the third flight was that detour, and that's when I got off the plane in Austin and drove. And then I had one going into Bentonville, Arkansas, home of Walmart, that was really bad. But all in 1 year, and that really shook me up. I'll be honest. They were so bad, that it shook me up for about a year of flying. And I've flown my whole life, and I'm talking, there was years where I was on the road 300 plus days a year, traveling all over. And so, but, great for these guys. And besides, who worries about the flight attendants? You want to know you got a great crew up front.
Yes.
Those 2 guys or those 2 gals, whoever it is up front, as long as they got control of that aircraft, I am fine. Throw your peanuts at me, fine. Give me small leg room, fine. Treat me like cattle, fine. But as long as those 2 guys up front, 2 gals, whoever it is, as long as they know their business, I am good. I will live with it.
Oh, not me.
Although I don't
like it. You still got to
it.
give me the leg room.
Although I don't like it. By the way, traveling, pre 9/11, traveling pre 9/11, you're treated like kings. That business travel, we were treated like the absolute kings. After 9/11, that's when it all went downhill, and flying just became not fun at all. And that was, one of the reasons why eventually is like, of course it wasn't until about 8 years later, I was like, you know what, it's not fun doing that anymore. It used to be, the travel day used to be a fun day, it used to be a fun day. We were treated like kings, but after 9/11, it was just became horrible. And unfortunately, we haven't rebounded yet. We just haven't. I think the customer service aspect just has not rebounded since 9/11. But, folks, that's it for us. We'll be back here live 8 a.m. again on next Sunday, as we are every Sunday. Have a great week. The Richard Tonihka Insurance Agency in Arlington has nearly unlimited resources. Nearly unlimited resources.